Good time zone, cats and kittens. My name is KiittyPls, and I'm the host of Harmonized, the podcast for the working streamer, looking to balance work, stream, and everything in between. And in today's episode, we are talking to RinnSohma. She is an absolute doll. Rinn talks to us a lot about balancing stream and being a part of a very big community and team, and also dealing with health issues and what it means to prioritize you in the mix of all of that. I really think you're all gonna love her. She's such a sweetie pie, and I can't wait to dive into it. All right, Rinn, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your stream and how you sort of found your way to Twitch and all that?
I started streaming almost 3 years ago. Actually, it'll be next week, 3 years. Um, because me and a friend who I've known for a long, long time from an MMO many years ago, fell into it, and I don't even remember how. He just kind of suggested we try it together, and it kind of spiraled from there. And I didn't really start taking things seriously until sort of last year when I actually started doing a schedule and playing games consistently instead of just playing what I happened to feel like at that point, like starting a game halfway through on stream, which obviously made no sense to anyone
It
except
makes sense.
me.
It makes sense to me. Oh, hey, I was
Makes
playing
sense
this
to me.
game. I was playing this game. Do you guys want to see me finish it? Like, I get it.
So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna have a set schedule. I'm gonna actually play a game from start to finish. Um, and yeah, it just grew from there. So I play all sorts of different things, really. Um, any kind of game, pretty much, apart from like battle royales and FPS, is what I'm interested in. Something that has a good story, something that lets me create my own story. Um, and we try to have about two story games on the go, and then maybe something we can pick up every so often as well.
I know you sometimes do a bunch of stuff with your community as well, right? Like I know you have a like crowd control stream coming up, which seems really
Yeah.
cool. Is that something you do every weekend or something you like build into like your schedule?
So the crowd control stream is actually to celebrate the 3 years of streaming. So that's like my little streamiversary celebration
Oh,
thing.
that's
Um,
cute.
because I wanted to do something that could actually involve the community
Mhm.
rather than doing, like a long stream being like, here, everyone watch me for 12 hours and you can't actually get involved. But I wanted to make it a little more interactive. So it's going to be absolute chaos, which is going to be fun. Um, we have been doing monthly community game nights on Twitch, but they've lately made me quite anxious.
Oh,
Um, Partly because I've been thinking, like a couple of days before, what if no one wants to join in? It's going to be really awkward. And then the other thing is the amount of trolls that have been targeting Jackbox games lately
oh
made me a little
no.
nervous. So we're now moving that to Discord. So it's still going to be once a month, but it's going to be Discord only, which I think makes it a little cozier. It means we can all use voice chat if we want.
That
And
does.
people seem to be happy with that decision. So
You know, it's funny that you mentioned the is anybody going to show up thing. I feel like every streamer before anything new or different or like a schedule
yeah.
change or like you're like, "Oh god, nobody's going to show up." I normally stream on Tuesdays. Today is Wednesday. Nobody's coming. Like,
And normally, if it's, a story game, you can keep chatting to yourself if no one's there. You
mhm.
can you can do that. But if it's a community game that needs people there, that's kind of impossible.
Oh god.
So that one's particularly anxiety inducing.
I can literally feel the anxiety in my chest like, thinking about it. Oh gosh,
Can't
we've
play
all been
Jackbox
there.
alone.
Did you when you started all of this, 3 years is funny. That's about how long I've been on the platform too. Did you
Mm.
have your current job that you're in now, or are you still in school? I feel like so many people that I've talked to, um, all have started in a different place. I've met people who were in school and then decided I don't want to go to school. I want to Twitch, or they were in one job and now they're in a different one. How did you? Where were you in Rin's real life when you found Twitch?
I finished school a long time ago.
What did you say? Okay, good. What did
Yeah.
you say?
I was,
know.
I was working at the same I work at university. I was working at the same place, but in a different role.
Mhm.
So now I've, like, made my way up,
We're moving on up
since
in the
then.
world.
Yeah, moving on up. So same workplace, but different role from when I started streaming.
It's so funny that you mentioned that I finished school a while ago. Sometimes I feel like the oldest grandma on Twitch because I'm 30 and everybody's like 18 and I'm like, "Dear God,
Yeah.
what am I doing?"
I'm 30 next month, and I've actually realized that quite a lot of my community seems to be, um, like, late 20s to mid 30s, which I really like.
I
I
would
see a lot of
appreciate
communities
that.
where a lot of the people are probably, early 20s or younger,
Mhm.
and I don't know, I just think it's nice to have a bit of a mix, but also it's nice to know that we have, some people a bit closer to my age.
Friend, have you ever seen The Goonies?
I haven't. I
Do
actually haven't.
but do you know what The Goonies are?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was watching a video with my fiance the other day, and it started with the announcer going, "Hey, you guys," and he's like, "Did y'all ever hear that like camp song? It's like a camp cheer," and I'm like, "Oh my god!" It's like you're so young, you don't even know what the Goonies are. It's just a camp song for you. And I had a very minor existential crisis about my age.
Oh, no.
But I'm so glad to hear that you're in the same boat as me. So when you started doing Twitch, and I know you said you got into it with a friend,
Mm.
was it something that you kept from your coworkers at the university, or was it something you were sort of very open about? Was like gaming something that was known, like attached to you? Like, did people know you were a gamer and you enjoyed that sort of thing?
So one of my colleagues knew that I was a gamer because she plays games as well, not as much,
Hmm.
but she's still interested. And that in that role, I don't think I told anyone about streaming.
Hmm.
But then when I moved to my next role, I met a colleague who started, I think, a week after me. She's now
Oh
part of my Twitch community, and she's very, very much into gaming. We just clicked instantly, and I kind of immediately told her all about streaming. Um, so she's popped into some stream. She's even done a stream with me. We did a Halloween stream together. She came round, 2 years running now, actually, and we played Man of Medan this year and Until Dawn last year.
wow,
And
that's amazing.
also, after a little while, I told another colleague, but he is now my line manager. So he
Oh,
came to the stream that we did
oh
together, and it was like, "Well, the
gosh.
manager's here now. We've got to behave."
Oh no.
But he's a good friend, so it's fine.
Oh my goodness, I've always been so afraid of that, of like my boss or somebody showing up on stream, but he was like totally cool with it.
Yeah, because like he was in the same role and then he got promoted, so we were
Okay.
friends.
Okay.
But now he's also actually my manager.
Oh god. Do you find that you and I'm always careful with the way I phrase this. Do you find you limit the way you behave on stream because it's known at work that you are a Twitch streamer, or are you in a position at your job that you can kind of be yourself without any sort of restrictions?
No, I don't limit myself because my friend who watches, we're colleagues, we're friends, we're at the same level, so she's not gonna like report any
Oh
behavior or
my
whatever.
god.
Um, and then the colleague who's now my manager has only sort of popped in for the streams that we did together, so I don't need to worry about him regularly being
So if you're like boss's boss, like if you the big boss, I won't I don't know what that level is in your job, but if your big boss were to like see a stream, would you be like held like accountable at work for like your opinions or stuff, or are you very much like allowed to have your own opinions and behave and say the way you'd like, and it doesn't like reflect on the company
it wouldn't
or
reflect
school?
on them because um I wouldn't be, openly saying this is where I work. My opinions reflect the workplace. we could, yeah, it wouldn't matter. I would feel really awkward if they saw it though. I don't think they would
just
understand.
just at the, office kitchen the next morning. Oh, hello.
Yeah.
I'm glad you saw my pro Super Mario Galaxy gameplay. Did you see me get all those stars? Oh gosh. So when you started, you said you were in a different position but same job, and that you also were just sort of playing what you wanted when you wanted.
Hmm.
Um, at what point did you decide, okay, I need a schedule, and then how many hours a week did you give yourself in that schedule?
Sorry, they're setting off fireworks outside. I'm sorry if you can hear that. Um, I I moved flats 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and once I got into this new place, I was like, right, I want to start taking this seriously now. I don't really know what inspired it. I had 3 months without internet,
Oh gosh.
which was horrible, horrible. Um, and after that, I was like, I really want to get back into streaming. And from that, I just started doing streams almost every day, but very short streams
Oh my
without really
goodness.
seeing anything.
Every
Um,
day?
uh, yeah, and I wasn't using a webcam at that point or anything, so it wasn't like quite as much preparation. And then I was like, right, I'm gonna actually set up a schedule. I'm gonna start using webcam, um, play games properly on stream and things like that. I don't know really what inspired me to do it apart from the lack of internet for the past 3 months.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder, isn't that the
Yeah.
saying?
I think I just missed Twitch in that time, and I was like,
Hmm.
I wanna do this more now.
So, did you find that it was easy to balance your work schedule with your stream schedule? Like, were you working equal amount of hours to like your like enjoyment hours, I guess?
Yeah, I think it's okay. I work 36 and a half hours, I think, a week,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I must stream around 18 to 20, like, minimum
Mm-hmm.
a week, so that's 4 days. Um, and I working from home makes it much easier because that's what I've been doing since March.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, it was a little bit trickier because I wasn't getting home till a lot later. I was having to finish a lot earlier because then I was having to get up earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Commuting is lovely, isn't it?
yeah. So whereas I could maybe do 3 hours, in a weekday evening, I can now do 5 if I want, or I could probably do more, but I probably shouldn't. Um, so it was never really difficult to balance it because, it's just something that I kind of fell into doing and enjoyed doing. It didn't feel like a chore in any way, but
Mm-hmm.
it made me kind of resent the commute and stuff even more, I think, because it was like, "No, I've got less time to do this." And now I have more time.
It's crazy that you say that it made you resent your commute. You're not the first person to like hint at that and that sort of thing. And
Mhm.
it's always interesting when we really want to succeed in streaming and like give it more attention, what we start to resent in our like real life
Yeah.
that prevents us from doing that. And I don't know if it's healthy or unhealthy. It's just like a trend that I've noticed. Like, oh, we don't want to commute anymore. Oh, like, oh well, I could go grocery shopping or I could get them delivered so I could get a stream in on the weekend. Like just sort of the things
Yeah.
you start to compromise and give up and tip the scales of balance in a different direction if
I mean, I think I would be the same even if I wasn't streaming because my commute, despite the short distance between home and work, takes almost an hour on a bus because it just goes everywhere before it gets to the university
oh my god.
and doesn't turn up half the time. So
Oh yeah, don't you love
that's
that?
always fun. Yeah.
Now, if I don't show up to work, I get in trouble, but if that bus doesn't show up, it's fine. So, when did you decide that you also wanted to get into and for those of you listening, Rinn is also um a part of the Plant Army stream team. She's an integral part of this Plant Army stream team. And I know you do a lot of work there. When did you decide that you wanted to to sort of really get into Twitch teams and sort of, community building? Because I really admire that about you. You seem to have a really good handle on like community building and like things that bring people together. Like, when did you decide that that was something that was also important to you?
Well, from the beginning, I always wanted to stream to just meet people, to play games with and make new friends
Mm-hmm.
because I've been gaming all my life and I made some really, really good friends playing MMOs between like the ages of 16 and 18 or so, and that helped me through some really, really difficult times. So I I like my online friends. I want more of them. um and I just felt I guess that was there from the beginning, but then once I kind of started everything properly last year. I'd been following Misha since the year before, and I was really inspired by what she was doing. Obviously, building like a really warm community space for people to come and hang out, whether they just want to lurk and listen or they actually want to get involved. Um, so that's something that I've really really focused on, just creating a space for people to be. In whichever way they prefer, whether they wanna chat to us, whether they wanna lurk, whether they wanna get really involved and play games, and we have movie nights and things like that as well. I feel like I've gone off the original question, you might have to remind me of it.
Oh, no, no. It was you're totally fine. You did touch on it. It was um wondering when you decided to really get into like the Twitch team aspect and like also, dipping your toe into helping in that regard and like being a part of other communities and not just like building your own.
Oh, yes, so I remember seeing the tweets about the Plant Army when it was founded,
Hmm.
which I think was a few months before I joined it, but at that point, I had I had no internet. Um,
Oh
and I was, kind of getting to know people, like, around um, Misha's community, and then
no.
obviously lots of those people are in the plant army. So I decided to apply, and I got accepted, and I think that was March last year. So that was just after I came back in February last year. Um, and I just found everyone in the team and everyone who has joined since to be absolutely wonderful people, and I wanted to be like a bigger part of the team and make sure I stay connected with them. So I kind of put myself forward for things.
I love that. I love that confidence though. I'm such a shy little bean. I don't think I could
If it was, like, in real life, I would be terrified, but
Oh,
online, it's much easier.
it's crazy how that works, right?
Yeah.
I I have to say I think you've done an incredible job. I'm curious though, because I know
Thank
you
you.
said you work about 36 hours a week. You said stream about 18 to 20. Do I remember
Mm.
that right?
Mhm.
How much of that time is then spent doing stream things that aren't on stream? So like that watching other streams and like making those connections or doing Discord things, like if you had to gauge how much time or like making custom alerts or setting up, stuff, how much time would you say you spend on average in that regard?
So the 18 to 20 would be the actual streaming.
Mhm.
Um, with Discord and, like, keeping an eye on the community and chatting to people, I'm pretty much always online.
And are you able to be
Um,
online at work, or are you I know it's different because right now everybody's work from home, but um
yeah, I always just set myself to do not disturb. I mean, I don't know what they would see if they knew, but no one's monitoring. So I just have Discord open. I mean, obviously at home, and no one's gonna monitor that anyway.
Yeah.
But it doesn't distract me.
Hmm.
I just kind of dip in when I have a free moment, need to look away from whatever I'm doing for work. Um, I would say I probably spend a couple of hours a week on stream admin stuff, like maybe tweaking something, working out my schedule for the next week or few, because I like to plan like a couple of weeks in advance. And uh for like watching other streams, I quite often lurk. whilst I'm working and try and chat when I can, but I don't want to get too distracted.
Mhm.
Um, I try and make sure I have at least a day a week where the evening is just for me, so I don't watch streams. I don't do like Twitch stuff apart from be in Discord, but I play a game and try and not get distracted by other things because that's the problem I have. I've noticed is if I'm playing like a single player game off stream, I'll be like, "Oh, what's happening in Discord now?" And I keep looking over, and I need to stop.
It's so, you know what it is, when I first started Discord, I had never heard of it before streaming, I was like,
Mm,
what is this? And if I had to sit down and figure out how much time I spent in Discord, like in my free time, I think the number would make me nauseous. I think I think it would make me nauseous because it is so easy to get pulled into a conversation or to get pulled into something fun or to like, oh,
yeah.
check on this person or chat with this person. It's like when you get to work and you have a bunch of things to do before the day starts, but all of your coworkers are there and then all of a sudden it's like 5 minutes past when you're supposed to be at your desk.
I I appreciate that my community is at the size where I can kind of be there for people and chat with them regularly, but I realize that for larger streamers, they don't want to be quite as available to
Mhm.
everyone because that would be unmanageable. Um, but I've made some like really really close friends
Mhm.
through Twitch, so
Yeah,
that's been one of the highs there.
it's funny that you say that the bigger streamers, aren't able to. It's something that you don't always think of when you're
Mm.
when you're smaller. I I refer to myself as smaller. I know some people are like, "Don't call yourself a small streamer." Small with a O. Okay, that makes you feel better. But I can't imagine being as close as I am with everybody in my community and doing all the things that I do with a community the size of some of the people that are
Yeah,
on Twitch. You know what I mean? That sounds overwhelming in every regard.
it would be. But I guess if your community is at that size, you're probably more likely to be either doing Twitch full time or it's a substantial part of your income, in which case it's I guess it's like easier to separate yourself from the community then because if it's more like a job than a hobby,
Hmm.
you need to be able to separate your work and your personal life a bit more. Whereas mine's just all merged.
I mean, it's so interesting that you say that because that's one of the questions I usually ask people when they come on is do you feel there's a place on Twitch now for the hobbyist streamer? Because there's this huge push for monetize this, grow that, like, get more subs this way or do that, I wonder sometimes if there's a place anymore for people who are just there to have fun without being told, "Oh, well, why aren't you like doing this?" Or like, "Why aren't you doing that?"
I think there is a place. I mean, no one has to, sign up for affiliate or partner if they hit it. But at the same time, I have seen people ask other streamers, like, why don't you have a donation link? People just want to throw their money at them sometimes. But if you're on Twitch just to share your gameplay and to meet people without the focus of of the money, which was why I joined it in the first place. But I'm also at the point now where it's like a nice little addition to my income,
Hmm.
which is helpful, especially right now.
Yeah,
But I
keeping the
think
rent in.
there's absolutely a place for hobbyist streamers. It just they might find people don't always understand like why they're streaming, even though they're just doing it for their own enjoyment. So I don't think anyone should question that, but they do.
They do. I think it's that streamer Twitter just getting to people, as
Yeah.
I like to call it, because it's interesting to me because sometimes, people do start as hobbyist streamers and they do start, because they just want to meet people, they just want to have fun. And then sometimes they realize, oh, hey, I could make like a side job out of this.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden it's, well, oh, well, you're this or you're that now. But then if they just say they are just doing it for fun, oh no, you're not. Everybody wants like something. Everybody wants to grow. It's like, well, how do they win here? How does one win this game. But
Yeah, there's a lot of cynical people who don't believe that anyone could be streaming for anything but money.
right? Gosh, they should sit
When
down and have a chat with us.
in reality, I would be um if I was streaming and I just had the money and not the friends, I would be much worse off now than if it was the other way round. Um, because the company that it's given me, especially since March,
Hmm.
has been has made such a difference to me. I'm not a particularly social person. Like I live by myself. I'm not
Hmm.
really bothered about like going out
Hmm.
and doing that much. Going to like parties and bars and stuff. I'm not really that kind of person. So the fact that I have this group of people that I've met through Twitch that I can chat with and play games with and things, especially during this time where I haven't been able to see my family so much, has really really helped
Yeah,
more than any kind of like income that's come from it. I'd say.
I think that's a huge point that a lot of people don't consider, and I 3,000% agree with you. Um, have you ever considered, like, if you ever wanted to go full-time content creation, or do you really enjoy what you do at the university? Like, if I understand the for someone as anxious as myself, I understand the well, no, there's no constant income, there's no like guaranteed like health benefits or like all of this other stuff. But if you took all that away, if it was just content creation full time versus like getting to do what you would you do you think you could see yourself being a full-time content creator, or do you think it would take the fun away for you a bit?
I'd like the opportunity if I could.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly the opportunity to work to my own hours.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I get chronic migraines.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might think streaming doesn't help, but honestly, it doesn't make any difference what I do. Um, and I'm also waiting for a referral for chronic fatigue syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes, like, the 9 to 5 life doesn't agree with me.
Yeah.
I struggle to get up,
Mm-hmm.
and I also struggle to fall asleep. So I seem to like crash between 3 and 10 p.m. and then I'm wide awake at midnight. And I think like if I could control my own kind of working hours, that would be I think that is the main draw to me
Mm-hmm.
is controlling my working hours, but also, building the community even more. Um I do like my job, but it's not something I want to do forever.
That's fair, and I commend you on being, open and honest on your health struggles. You've got me wondering if I need to go see a doctor, but that's a totally different story.
Yeah.
But do you ever find, that it's hard to balance sometimes work and stream and like the things you do with your community on top of your health issues? Like, do you ever feel like, okay, I can't do this right now. Everything needs to pause. Or do you feel like you've given yourself like an even slice of like all the pieces of the pie?
I don't feel like I can't balance it because if I have a migraine and I have to cancel a stream,
Mm-hmm.
my community are always really understanding, and if I try and push myself, they will in fact just tell me off. So they know all about it. I've always been very open about everything and like keeping them up to date with any kind of changes. So I used to be really bad with it, and I would just push through, and then you can tell if someone is
Yeah.
not doing well on a stream, and then I was like, I'm so much better off cancelling, looking after myself, and then hopefully being perfectly fine for the next time. So I don't feel like it's hard to balance because I know when to stop and look after myself. And my work are pretty understanding as well. And it's also been a lot easier to manage since I've been working from home.
Mm-hmm.
Sleep later, I can nap at lunchtime if I need to. Um, I find it like I can work more easily at home if I have a migraine, even if I don't really want to be working with one. If it's a low level one, it's easier to be in my own space where people aren't talking to me because I get very irritable.
Oh gosh, I can imagine.
So generally, yeah, I think I don't find it hard to balance because I
Hmm.
I know at what point I need to stop and just take a breather.
Were you always good at setting those boundaries, or did you have to learn that along the way?
No, I had to learn
Oh.
that. I've had migraine since I was, 14,
Mhm,
and I do get quite angry at how much they impact stuff. So, like, if I say it's a Saturday and I wanna have a nice day and do stuff, and then I get a migraine, I'm like, "Well, I've just lost a weekend day now, and that makes me angry." But I just have to accept it, um, as how it is, and realize that there are some cases where I need to adapt, change what I'm doing, and if that means, like, canceling a stream, then
mhm.
people aren't gonna disappear because I've done that. They're all really understanding, and they'll just say, "Rest up and come back when you're well."
That's wonderful. You have such a nice community, Rinn. I really think that's a testament to like you as a person and like what you've cultivated.
Thank you.
Um, have you ever considered hmm, how do I phrase this? So, as someone who works, full time, and you're balancing that on top of, the migraines when they're being little butts to you, and and stream and stuff. How do you balance, setting goals for yourself and for your channel? Because I feel like, and I don't mean to like put Rin up on a pedestal, y'all, but for those of you listening, she really is good at a lot of this stuff. So like, just from watching and from experience, you seem like you have a great knack for setting achievable goals for your channel and for your stream and for your community. How do you go about figuring out what you want and when you want to work towards that, like in the mix of everything?
So I did used to be I used to be really obsessed with numbers.
Hmm.
Um, I
I
used to
think
have
we all
my
fall into
viewer
that trap.
count visible, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to, like, obsessively I mean, I still do keep track of stats because I like seeing the growth,
Hmm.
but if there's a dip, then I don't let it, drag me down.
Hmm.
Um, and I've come to realize there are some things that I just simply can't control. I can't control how many people are gonna be here. I can't control how many followers I'm gonna have. All I can do is work to put out, like, the best content that I can do.
Hmm.
I can work to stream X numbers a week or a month or whatever. I can work to showcase these games in particular, um, do community events. So I basically try and focus on goals that I have control over. So in my mind, I have goals for follower numbers and
Hmm.
average viewers by certain points, but
Hmm.
I don't want to put them out there or pressure myself into achieving them because that's no fun.
No, not at
I
all.
Yeah, I just feel like if you make goals that you have control over, you're gonna do so much better, and then I think everything else will just come naturally.
I think that's incredible advice, and especially, I think it's almost impossible on Twitch to not at some point lose yourself a bit in the numbers game
Yeah.
and start that comparison, which is difficult. But the
It's
idea,
so hard not to compare yourself to other people.
it really is, and it's even harder when you're someone like us who's working full time. So it's not
Mm.
like, how you said where you like to look at your numbers and adjust. It's not like you can say, okay, I notice like these days work really well. Let's try shifting the stream earlier. Well, you're working.
Yeah,
Or like,
exactly.
let's try this day. Oh, well, I work this day. Like there are things that, you know, limit you when you do have a job or a career. But I think I love how you said that, like goals that you have control over. I think that's amazing because I think it does help a lot of streamers to have goals, um, and that you have some in your head, but not ones that would be to your detriment. And I really,
Yeah,
really value that you just shared that with everybody listening. I think it's incredibly solid advice.
'cause, this year we were supposed to a lot of us were supposed to meet up at TwitchCon EU, which
Hmm.
obviously did not happen.
Yeah.
So we organised our own little online version where we
Hmm.
did a whole weekend of films and games on Discord and just sort of hanging out and voice chat. And I've decided that I want to do at least a couple of like full days of gaming and chatting a year. So that's now something that I'm going to look at setting up and maybe every couple of months. So that's one of my goals for next year.
Oh, that's
because
awesome.
that's gonna
Like a full day of like events and things.
yeah, just hanging out. We could have like a certain time for games, and everyone hangs out in voice chat if they want to, and watching films. Um, just a more organized sort of group session because people really enjoyed it. And it did take quite a lot of organizing, which is why I'm kind of setting it as a goal and thinking way ahead.
Hmm.
But it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to starting that out.
I think it sounds like a lot of fun. We have to get, creative and inventive in the times that we are in now.
Yeah.
Do you find that because you are someone who has a career and who works full time, that it's easier for you to do some of these sort of things, like the time management, the organization, the like all of that? Do you think you have a better handle on it because of, having that job, or do you think that's just something naturally that is part of your personality?
I think I'm quite like an organized person in general.
Mhm.
But my job in particular requires that and like a lot of attention to detail because I do university admissions, so we have to really,
Oh gosh, if you hiccup, that's a big no-no.
yeah, you don't want to
Oh
mess that up. You don't
no.
want to admit someone who's, got the worst degree and forged documents and all that. So I I feel like it does help
Oh no.
because I'm already kind of in that mindset, but I have always generally been quite an organized person and I like to be organized. I like to have lists. I like to have
Mhm.
spreadsheets. I use Notion for
Mhm.
organizing everything and I have like different pages. I map out my schedule. I have lists of games that I want to play, ideas for events and incentives and things. Um I just like making that kind of thing.
I think that's in my mind that's very stressful, but also sounds exactly like what I enjoy. You should see the number of lists and like notepads and like calendars and checklists that are all over my apartment. I we it's sad that you live across the ocean. I would come and like hang out and I would just read a book in the corner of your apartment. Like you just and like, make a little list here and a little list there. In my like little hobbit hole. But I think it's great that you do take that attention to detail from your job and you carry it over. Um I have a bit of an interesting question for you because I feel like maybe um, you would understand what I'm trying to say, and you'll be the first person I asked it to. So, yay, yay.
Oh.
Do you notice the difference when you're chatting and like doing things with viewers who also work versus viewers who say like live at home or in school? Do you find that there's a difference between their level of understanding when you cancel or like things move or things shift, or have you just kind of noticed that they're all the same? It's something that came up in a conversation that I was having with someone else while planning for these, and I feel like you might be a good person to pitch this to.
I haven't noticed that that affects how people respond to that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, no one's ever responded in a negative way
Oh,
to
good.
me kind of
Yeah.
canceling stuff.
Yeah.
They could actually be thinking it and just be like, "Yeah, I feel better soon." And I wouldn't know. But I don't think it's probably anything to do with whether they work or not. I think it's probably just to do with just general like empathy
Mm-hmm.
and maybe like how close you are to someone, you genuinely want them to feel better. Um, I like the idea that people look forward to my streams, but I also don't want them to feel disappointed when I cancel.
Mm-hmm.
So um, I don't think having a job would affect how they respond to that. To be honest, I think generally they'd be understanding regardless.
I like that answer. That makes me happy to hear. It's just the thing. It's something to think about. Sometimes I notice on Twitter more than anything else, like the way certain people respond. I'm like, ah, yes, you have no responsibilities yet. But in general, I've kind of noticed the same thing that most people, are empathetic and they understand, especially if you curate a community in that way.
Yeah.
Um, have you have you ever found yourself, I know you said you resented the commute. Have you ever found yourself getting frustrated with wanting to do something on stream or like for stream or for your community and realizing that you had to make it work around like work? Or have you been pretty good about, like you said, keeping it in balance and like scheduling things around that?
I don't think there's ever anything that work's gotten like in the way of. I know I've
Hmm.
done it's like special streams. I think when Animal Crossing came out, I booked the day off work.
Oh my
Um
god, that's adorable.
and we did like a 12-hour Animal Crossing like launch stream. I think for my birthday last year, I think it was a Friday. So I booked that day off. So if it's anything that I need to do on that specific day and I feel like I need to start earlier, I can just book the day off generally, but that's very rarely happened. And like for my stream anniversary is actually next Wednesday, but I'm just doing the celebration on Sunday instead tomorrow because that gives us way more time to do anything, and that's fine.
That's awesome. I wish I could take off work. I can.
I
We
didn't
just.
tell them why.
Oh,
It's just like, "Here's the day off."
it's just. I'm picturing that scene in Mean Girls. I'm sick, and just hanging up the phone. Oh my goodness. So it seems like you have this air about you where you really kind of got it together. You understand, like, I know you're
It doesn't
laughing,
always
but
feel that way.
I mean, you have it together in a sense of you know what's important to you, you know what you
Mm,
want, like, you know what your limitations are, which I think is a huge thing that I think a lot of people need to learn to set for themselves.
yeah,
If we had to look at the balance, do you like pizza? Before I ask you this, or cake? Would you
I
prefer
do.
pizza or cake?
Either is good.
Okay. If
Both
we
is better.
if we looked at the pizza cake that is Ren's life, and your slices are health and then fitness and then sleep and stream and working and then like a social life. Um, which slice of the pizza cake is not getting eaten? Or are we good at eating the whole thing?
Uh, I would say health, fitness, and sleep.
Okay.
Probably the 3 most important.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, I'm not a good sleeper. I
Mhm.
can't sleep very well, and I can't wake up. Um, I haven't done enough since, like, lockdown, since March.
Mhm.
I need to get on it. I have Just Dance, so I know I can do it. But sometimes, like, if I've got a migraine or I'm too exhausted,
Mhm.
I can't Just Dance. Um,
I shouldn't laugh so hard at that pun, but
yeah, I know I need to balance things out a bit more, but I'm quite content with it, apart from the sleep thing.
Oh gosh. I'm sorry, the Just Dance thing still has me laughing. I wonder though how much of that is even like within your control, given you said, your chronic
Yeah,
fatigue syndrome. Is that something that they can treat for you, or is it something that you just have to deal with? I'm not
it
very
is something that
knowledgeable.
you have to deal with. I think they commonly call it ME in the US.
Mm-hmm.
It's got, like, a really long name that I can't remember how to pronounce.
Oh gosh.
Um, but chronic fatigue syndrome makes it sound like you're just lazy, which is really frustrating.
Oh no.
But it doesn't have a treatment. There's no cure for it. If so, one of the things they can prescribe or prescribe is cognitive behavioral therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is very specific amounts of exercise. So you like kind of get your levels up, but you don't exhaust yourself. And I think you have to sort of gradually build up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's kind of about it. I don't think there's like any drugs or anything that really help with it because they don't know why it happens.
Don't you love how little we know about our own dang bodies still in our brain? Like, it's fine. Oh, well, I give you all the credit in the world for having the disposition that you do despite like
Thank you.
all of the obstacles in your way. Um, for anybody who doesn't know Rinn, she is truly a joy to watch and to get to know. And despite this bubbly personality that you see and hear, when you watch her on stream sometimes, there I think your rage-induced moments are quite possibly some of my favorites. Just, I do quite enjoy them.
Just how I've always been with games.
So the last question that I like to end with people and kind of get their take on is if you could give advice to someone who not just for streaming but someone who's also, you know, like your coworker, for example, someone who's also a full-time career person, someone who also is trying to, get into Twitch while having their job, if you could give them, a piece of advice, what's the biggest thing you would want to say to them? What's something that you feel that they should know, like going into this ahead of time?
I would say, don't go in like looking to promote yourself and increase your numbers. I would say go in looking to get to know people
Hmm.
and making friends and building a community, and you'll see results a lot more naturally that way. Um, and you'll enjoy them a lot more. You'll have your own community that you've built up just sort of by being there for people. Um, and I can't think
I know it's a difficult question. You were on a roll. I was just gonna let you
of
finish. No, I love that, the idea of don't go into it, with the idea of promoting right away.
Yeah,
Um,
I've seen a lot of people going in like, "Oh, I've seen you can make a lot of money from streaming on Twitch, and I want to start doing that, so I'm gonna go straight in and buy all this gear." And it's like, don't go in
oh no, oh
aim of
no.
making all that money because it's not very likely to happen. Go in with the aim of making a community and getting to know people, and go and watch other streams and chat to people on Twitter and make friends on Discord and things like that. And don't just focus on numbers either, because that's very stressful. But also
Incredibly stressful.
take time for yourself, which I'm not very good at doing.
We're the
I'm
worst at
trying to do more often.
we are the worst at following our own advice. It's fine.
Yeah. I
But
treated myself to a new TV for my bedroom so I can go in there, get away from my PC and watch stuff. I can play games in there.
oh
So I'm not sat on
yes.
my PC with Discord open all the time,
Oh, that's so
even though
healthy
it's
to
still on
just
my phone.
literally, I know it sounds like such a simple thing, but that's so healthy to just say, like, get up and walk away from the PC for
Yeah.
a little bit. Like,
Even if it
genuinely.
is another screen.
Yeah,
Um
just
it's my time now.
oh, I think that is perfect, genuinely. And I want to say thank you so much for doing this with me, Rinn. I really enjoyed it. You make
Thank
me laugh.
you.
You guys can find Rinn on twitch.tv/RinnSohma, RinnSohma. I made sure I spelled it right before we started. And thank you all so much for listening. Rinn, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And good luck with
Thank
your
you.
stream anniversary. Crowd
Thank
control
you.
Skyrim, right?
Yes.
Oh Lord, I can't wait to see you get killed by a dragon.
Probably happen a lot.
Thank you so, so much.
Thank you.